And now I'm very happy to welcome again everybody and welcome our distinguished keynote speaker, Kendee Yamaguchi, who is the Deputy Assistant Secretary for the U.S. field at the International Trade Administration. And I would like to invite the newest member of the CIBA Advisory Board, Patrick Santillo, to introduce Kendee to the audience. Okay. And,
Good morning, everyone. It's great to be in person, and it's great to be here in New York. I've only met Elena in the box, so getting people out of the box and having us be here together, I think we're all really happy about that and the networking that comes with all of that. So wonderful for all of you to make the time to be here. So thanks so very much. Elena, thank you for your leadership around CIBA and honestly for bringing us all together today. It's absolutely terrific. And Dean Barrington, thank you for sort of the trust and partnership to allow us to use the facility and make all of this happen, including with your team. So I appreciate that. To all of you, you obviously have choice of where you're going to go to build relationships, to get information. So it's great that you've decided to spend your time with us this morning and this afternoon. We hope you find it fruitful, and we hope you find it very worthwhile in building those relationships. So thanks very much. I'm very delighted to be able to introduce our keynote speaker, Kendee Yamaguchi, and I will do that in just 30 seconds, if I may, but a quick moderator moment in between. I represent also an organization called the Business Council for International Understanding, or BCIU. We work to bring government and the private sector together. My name's Patrick Santillo, and I'm a senior vice president right now at BCIU. So let's go ahead and jump into the introduction, Kendee, if I may. I developed somewhat of a quirky habit, especially through COVID and all of that, that I start at the bottom of people's resumes and I work back up because it helps us figure out who you were and where you came from to get to where it is that you are. So I'm going to take a moment and just read something that I think is profound and very, very interesting from Kendee's bio. Kendee's family history includes time in a Japanese-American internment camp in the Pacific Northwest, which inspired in her a passion for righting past injustices. It's really important to know where we're coming from, where we are, and where we want to go. So I invite all of us to think about maybe today and throughout this program, the importance of international relations, the importance of international understanding, and obviously trade and investment is one of the very best ways we can help facilitate that. So thank you for all of that. Kendee graduated from the American University in Washington, D.C., and there are other academic accolades, but I'm not going to talk about any of them because I went to American also. So we'll just stop there, Kendee, and call it that. Kendee's held positions in Washington, the state, as a cabinet member to Governor Jay Inslee and Chris Gregoire. For the other Washington, that in D.C., she worked during the Clinton administration to help create the executive order creating the White House Initiative on Asian American, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders. So we can see a real path there, Kendee, and thank you for that. Kendee served as a deputy mayor of Seattle and has extensive work at the federal, state, and local levels. And obviously that's so important to the work we're doing here because it does involve all of those levels. So that experience that you bring to the table is just invaluable. Yamaguchi now was appointed by President Biden as the Deputy Assistant Secretary for the U.S. field at the International Trade Administration of the U.S. Department of Commerce. And we are in New York, not inside the Beltway. So I will say, in case you're not as familiar with sort of rankings within the U.S. government, the Deputy Assistant Secretary is a very important place because it's really the intersection of people who are doing the work daily and overseeing the people who are really implementing the work and interfacing with some of the policymakers and trying to create that vision. But that glue of keeping everybody together and on track is so important. So again, thank you for playing that role. With that, I'm delighted to introduce Des Yamaguchi. Thank you again for being here. Look forward to your remarks.
So good morning, everyone. It is such an honor to be here today. And on behalf of the U.S. Commercial Service, the export promotion arm of the U.S. Department of Commerce, it's just an outstanding time to be here to see all of you gathering in New York. I want to thank the Center for International Business Advancement for organizing today's event. I know a tremendous amount of work went into today. And I want to thank Patrick, who I recently actually saw in Bangkok only a few weeks ago at one of our largest trade events that we hold for the U.S. Department of Commerce internationally as well. So today's event is soft landings and smart takeoffs. And I just want to kind of take a pause on that because like CIBA, our agency's economic development programs are focused on making sure the US economy is a well-fueled plane with seamless takeoffs and landings to basically enter into our global markets. We have more than 2,000 members working every day on building more prosperous, inclusive, and a secure economy. And we're strengthening all of our communities and enhancing our economic resilience. And this is so critical and important, especially after the pandemic. By bolstering our competitiveness of our industries and our workers. So we do this by promoting exports and facilitating investment and also ensuring fair trade practices. So a lot of people wonder what we do. And so I want to take a pause so you can absorb what we do. Many people ask and leave. So once you leave today, those are the key things that I would like you to walk away with. So, and in that, we have a priority, our agency and the Department of Commerce and our secretary around equity. Equity lies at the core of our efforts, serving all businesses regardless of size. And we're working to ensure that the benefits of trade reach more broadly across all of our communities. And so that is why today is also so significant. I know today we have a gathering of a lot of companies and small businesses as well that may not have traditionally interfaced with the Department of Commerce and a gathering like this. So it is very significant. So export promotion, or what we are also calling the takeoff, is the traditional core of our mission. I lead a team of nearly 300 international trade experts. And I want to take a pause because we have some of them joining us today, if they could just raise their hands. So if you could find them, feel free to ask them any questions. We have 106 offices across the country in 48 states, including Puerto Rico. So in addition to our US offices, we also have an international presence. We have offices in US embassies and consulates in over 80 markets, representing 95% of the world's GDP. So that's another takeaway that I would want you to also have. We have domestic operations as well as international operations to connect you, both while you're here and while you're abroad. So each year, as many of you know, US companies export trillions of dollars in goods and services. But exporting is just not for our large multinational companies. The vast majority of our companies that export, 98% of them are small or medium-sized enterprise businesses. That's why today is so important. It's critical too for us to share our message of the services the Department of Commerce provides, as well as to connect you with our staff that is here today. Because there are many small and medium-sized enterprise businesses that are just not exporting yet, or not exporting to their full potential. And this is one of the Department of Commerce's priorities, to help you as well. And we want to take advantage of all of our missed opportunities. So we have this seamless worldwide network in place because the potential is there. The convenings like today really illustrate how we can basically leverage and take off more around this potential. And we are instrumental in helping our businesses take advantage of these opportunities. So before I move on to what I call kind of the meat and potatoes or the takeoff or the fuel of the plane, in line with the theme of the conference, we have some really exciting programs. And I would just want to highlight 5. If you're to walk out of this room, in addition to knowing what the Department of Commerce does, I would want you to walk out with remembering 5 things. 1, first and foremost, we problem solve for US companies that sell internationally. And what does that mean exactly, right? Because we specialize in international business development, our international trade experts carry a deep and broad knowledge of the challenges US companies face when competing for businesses internationally. So you can tap into that knowledge, that expertise, and take advantage of that. Second, we produce and provide in-depth international market intelligence. And from just starting this position about 30 days ago, I have heard from many businesses, they did not know about this second service we offer. So I want to just put a pin on that because many people have said this has been one of the resources that has been very helpful for them. So what does that mean? We have country commercial guides and industry snapshots developed by our experts to basically market comparison analysis to identify target markets. So our work helps US exporters make decisions of where to focus their efforts. Third, we make business connections. Part of what you were saying today about the networking that will be going on today. So you already know how critical that is because you'll probably be taking advantage of a lot of the networking opportunities today. Imagine that on a scaled level internationally with our domestic offices and our international staff as well, making connections, even more connections. So we introduce US companies to overseas partners and facilitate connections between foreign investors and also our economic development organizations. Fourth, which I also think is very critical, we establish a level playing field. We identify and address foreign trade barriers that prevent US goods and services from fairly reaching overseas markets. And lastly, we advocate for US business interests abroad. We lead efforts across US government and engage with foreign governments to ensure fair and transparent business processes that allow business companies to compete for new business. So again, 5 things to take away from what we do. And each of them, one of them, might be very significant for you to hear about and to walk away and connect with one of our staff. Not all of them you may utilize, but for one of them, we've done our service for government in connecting you and providing you services. So I want to touch on, with that as the backdrop, some of our successes, because that translates, I think, into why using the services can be very critical for you. How we do it. So we do this one company at a time. We have staff in locations across the entire United States where you are located to assist. We partner closely with national, state, and local community organizations, and we've seen success. Just to highlight, in fiscal year 2022, we assisted 32,000 exporters and facilitated $134 billion in exports and US goods and services. That's just fiscal 2022. And for every dollar allocated by the federal government, there's an estimated $360 return to the US economy. So those in business, numbers speak. I'm speaking your language and understanding, I think, the value of looking into the services we provide. And lastly, I do want to touch on something that you really may have a lot of interest that's coming right around the corner. And if you haven't participated or been involved with it, it's one of our signature kind of marquee events for the Department of Commerce, Select USA. So if you don't know what Select USA is, I'll just share a little bit about what it is. And for those that already have attended, that are nodding their heads in the audience. We hope to see you there in a few weeks. So Select USA works with our foreign business investors that are looking to establish or expand their locations in the United States. Select USA's network of investment specialists provide companies with information and data on a wide range of business-related topics, including industry clusters, workforce availability, operating costs, infrastructure and logistics, regulations, and federal and state resources. That's a lot in one location for a conference that runs about a week. In this last fiscal year, again, talking about numbers, Select USA assisted nearly 10,000 businesses representing close to $40 billion, supporting over 34,000 US jobs. So I really encourage you to check out this upcoming event. It's just around the corner. This year, it will be May 1st through the 4th in Maryland. There's still time to check it out on our website. And the summit will welcome business leaders and investors from more than 70 countries and economic development organizations from every corner of the nation. So we can think about a supersized networking event, very similar to what you're at now. So participants join this annual event to gain insights, not only in like the connections, but also the latest policy and investment trends. So while you're making connections, you're obviously also making meaningful connections and relationships. So just in conclusion, the International Trade Administration, which I am so excited to be a part of in my first month in this position, supports both smart takeoffs through export and soft landings through investment. I have to bring it back around to the theme of the conference, everyone. So we're really excited to be here today with you to share a few of the things that we can help support you with, to also support many of our academic institutions, our local economic development organizations, and our business partners as well. And I would be remiss to not highlight and applaud SUNY Binghamton and Cornell University. And the reason why I'm highlighting this today is they all took initiative to apply for an Economic Development Administration grant. They were awarded by the US government $1.6 million in an award for the Southern Tier Soft Landing Program. So this, what you're seeing today, is basically the result of a lot of collaborative work for the benefit of all of you here today. So I really do want to applaud everyone who worked on that process, because it's exciting to join you today from the US government to actually see the fruition of all of those efforts and see how that is translating into success for our businesses and our partners and the creation of jobs across the United States. So I want to thank CIBA for organizing this event today. And I really wish you a very productive day. And I always have to call out all of the staff that raised their hands and thank them for all of their work, but to encourage you to find them while you're here today if you have questions. Because again, not only business networking, we want to network and connect you with us so we can help you. So thank you very much for having me here today. It's been a pleasure as well.